Okay, so imagine like you're a doctor, right? But you've got this AI assistant and it's sifting through like millions of medical records, symptoms, research, all in real time.
Wow.
It's tailoring treatments with like pinpoint accuracy. That's the kind of future that's described in Rule of the Robots. It's honestly making me rethink everything I thought I knew.
Yeah, it's definitely not your typical robots are taking over kind of book, is it?
Right.
Ford's point is way more, I think, nuanced. He's arguing that AI is like, the electricity of this century.
Okay.
It's a massive shift.
Okay.
And it will probably impact every single part of our lives, even in ways we haven't even thought of yet.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's the thing. Everyone's making these comparisons to electricity, but like, how realistic is it? Is AI really that big of a deal?
Well, I mean, it's easy to be skeptical,
Sure.
but you have to remember, like, electricity didn't just replace candles, right? It created completely new industries, brand new everything.
That's true.
And we're already seeing AI do the same thing.
Okay. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Look at agriculture. They have AI and sensors. And it helps farmers use less water, less fertilizer.
Oh, wow.
Or how about manufacturing? Robots powered by AI aren't just putting together products, they're designing completely new ones.
It's kind of mind-blowing when you actually think about it.
Yeah.
It really is. And it's not just these fields you'd expect, you know? Like, I was reading about an AI that can compose music, like in the style of Bach.
Oh, wow.
Or another one that analyzes therapy sessions.
Interests.
It helps therapists pick up on things they might have missed otherwise. It's like
Yeah.
AI is getting into the creative, emotional stuff too.
Yeah, it is. And I think the truly fascinating thing here is that, AI isn't just copying human intelligence.
Right.
It's something else entirely.
Okay.
Take deep learning, for instance. It's basically feeding algorithms huge, massive amounts of data
Okay.
so they can learn patterns
Right.
and then make predictions based on those patterns.
So like how those self-driving cars work.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly how they're starting to navigate.
See, self-driving cars, the ultimate are we there yet of AI.
Right.
But before we like totally go down that road, let's
Yeah.
stick with this deep learning thing for a second.
Okay.
Ford uses this example of AI that can diagnose lung cancer from x-rays.
Right.
And get this, it's actually outperforming like real radiologists in some cases.
Yeah.
Is that like for real or is that more sci-fi?
Yeah, it's very real.
Wow.
And it shows you exactly what makes AI so powerful, especially for fields like healthcare.
Yeah.
Deep learning algorithms can go through these massive data sets,
Right.
medical images, research papers, even genetic information,
It's incredible.
and find these like hidden connections that human doctors could easily miss.
Wow.
It's not about replacing doctors, though.
Yeah, okay.
It's about giving them like these superhuman abilities
Okay.
to diagnose earlier, come up with personal treatment plans, and ultimately, save more lives.
Okay, that's both really cool and also kind of like, wait, should I be worried about a robot giving me my next checkup?
I can see that one.
Where's the line between AI being a helper and AI like taking over completely?
It's an understandable fear, for
Okay.
sure. And Ford addresses it directly. He says those sci-fi robot surgeons, they're still a long way off.
Okay.
Like physical dexterity, being able to adapt to unexpected situations, dealing with like the emotional side of patients.
Right, right.
These are all things that are really difficult for robots to do.
Okay, yeah. My last experience with the self-checkout things at the grocery store did not exactly fill me with confidence.
Exactly. Can you imagine that level of, oops, I scanned the wrong thing? Like a scalpel.
Oh, God, no.
Right. But here's where that whole idea of AI as a tool comes in.
Okay.
Instead of thinking about robots replacing doctors, think about them working together.
Okay.
Doctors get real-time insights during surgery. The AI analyzes the data, flags any problems before they even come up, maybe even helps design prosthetic limbs.
So it's like less robot doctor, more like doctor with an AI sidekick.
Exactly. And it leads to better outcomes for everyone.
I like that. But what about all those other jobs that people say AI is coming for? Everyone's worried about robots taking over, right?
It's a valid concern, definitely, and something we should unpack carefully.
Right.
It's true that automation will replace some jobs, yes.
Right.
But it's not as easy as robots just coming in and pushing everyone out.
Okay, good.
It's more complicated than that.
So it's not just robots are going to take our jobs. It's like way more complicated.
Yeah, way more nuanced. Ford actually says we're at this like really important turning point.
Okay.
He describes two possible futures. One, where AI makes inequality even worse,
Oh,
where just a few people have all the wealth and power.
right.
And then there's the other one, where AI helps create a new era of, prosperity,
Yeah.
where we boost productivity, create new opportunities, and actually improve quality of life for everybody.
Okay, so it's like choosing between Star Trek and like a total dystopia.
Exact.
But how do we actually make sure we're heading towards the Star Trek version? It seems like such a huge, overwhelming problem. What can we even do?
It can feel overwhelming, but Ford says we got to be proactive, not just react after it's too late.
Okay, so like, what does that actually look like?
Well, he says we need a multi-pronged approach, but it starts with education.
Okay, so we're all going to be coding now.
Well, it's not just about coding, although that's definitely useful. It's more about teaching people to adapt,
Yeah.
think critically,
Right.
and those things that AI can't really do, like creativity, emotional intelligence, collaboration.
So instead of being scared of the robots, we need to become the kind of humans robots can't replace.
Exactly. I mean, even in a world with super advanced AI, there will always be a need for human ingenuity, for empathy, for that spark of creativity that leads to new discoveries.
That makes a lot of sense.
We need to be encouraging those qualities in school, at work, everywhere.
Okay, I'm with you. But what about those folks whose jobs are being affected by AI right now? Like in those warehouses where robots are already doing so much of the work.
That's where things get really interesting, actually. Ford talks about Amazon warehouses.
Okay.
And the robots there, they're not replacing all the workers. They're taking over the really repetitive stuff, the physically demanding jobs. And then the humans, they move into roles where you need more dexterity, problem solving, and, get this, even managing the robots themselves.
So it's not necessarily retraining for a completely different career. It's more like upskilling within your current field to work alongside the AI.
Right. It's adapting.
That actually feels a lot less scary, to be honest.
Right.
But what about the bigger picture? Even if we manage to adapt, doesn't the rise of AI like fundamentally change what it even means to work?
It absolutely does. And Ford says that's exactly why we need to be bold in rethinking how our society even works. He brings up things like universal basic income.
UBI.
Yeah, where everyone gets a minimum income no matter what, whether they have a job or not.
Right, I've heard about that. Some people think it's kind of crazy. Others say it's the only way to be fair in a future with less traditional work. What does Ford think?
He presents it as one possible solution, not the solution.
Right.
The key thing, he says, is to make sure that when AI makes things more productive, those benefits are shared with everyone, not just the people at the top.
Right, that makes sense.
So maybe that means shorter work weeks, more flexibility, or even totally new ways of thinking about how we distribute wealth.
Wow, so AI is making us rethink work, income, even what it means to be a productive member of society. That's a lot.
It is a lot, but it's also pretty exciting when you think about it.
Okay, how so?
Well, imagine if AI could free us from all those boring, repetitive tasks.
Okay.
We'd finally be free to focus on stuff that really matters. Creativity, innovation, building stronger communities, learning, even just spending more time with family and friends.
Okay, yeah, that's the optimistic view. I like it. But let's be real for a second. There are some pretty scary things about AI, too.
Sure.
We've talked about the jobs thing, but what about deep fakes or AI bias, that whole surveillance state thing that's happening in some parts of the world?
Yeah, you're right. It's like this double-edged sword. The same technology that could lead to like medical breakthroughs could also be used to manipulate, control, even harm.
Right, it's a lot of power.
Exactly. And Ford doesn't shy away from those darker possibilities at all.
Well, good, because I have a lot of questions about those darker possibilities.
Okay, like what?
Let's start with deepfakes. AI generating these fake videos, fake audio that looks and sounds more real every day.
Right.
Honestly, it freaks me out a little bit. Like, are we entering a world where you can't even believe what you see and hear anymore?
It's a legitimate concern, and it gets at how AI can erode trust in a really fundamental way.
Yeah.
Imagine like a deepfake video of a politician saying something totally inflammatory right before an election.
Oh.
Even if it's debunked, the damage is done. It makes people doubt everything.
It's like, how do you even campaign in that kind of world?
Exactly.
And it's not just politics either, right?
Yeah, not at all.
Deepfakes could be used to ruin someone's reputation, manipulate them, even incite violence. It's like we're opening up this Pandora's box. Is there anything we can even do to stop it?
Well, that's the tricky part. Ford talks about this kind of arms race
An arms race.
between the people making the deepfake tech and the people trying to detect it.
Oh, wow. That's
It
intense.
is. We definitely need better algorithms to detect them.
Yeah.
But we also need people to be more media literate, to think critically about what they're seeing and hearing online.
So, like, a healthy dose of skepticism is more important than ever now.
Absolutely. And it's not just about spotting the fakes. It's also about being aware of bias, even in AI systems themselves.
Okay, explain that to me.
Well, remember, these algorithms are trained on data, right?
Great.
If that data reflects existing biases, like, say, sexism or racism, the AI might just learn those biases and make them even worse.
Oh, wow. So it's like that old saying, garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly. And that's why ethics are so important in AI development.
Okay.
We have to make sure that the data sets are diverse and representative, that the algorithms are designed to be fair and transparent,
Right.
and that there are ways to hold people accountable when things go wrong. And that kind of leads us to what might be the most uh, unsettling part of AI,
Mm.
how it could be used for, surveillance and control.
Yeah. And we're already seeing that play out in some pretty scary ways, like with that whole social credit system in China
Right.
and the way they're using facial recognition to like track people. It's like something out of a dystopian movie, but it's real life.
It is, and it makes you
It
wonder,
does.
even in, democratic countries, where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
What's to stop the same technology that's supposed to, say, catch criminals
Right.
or prevent terrorism from being used against everyday people?
That's my fear. It feels like a really slippery slope. Like once you start going down that road, where does it end?
Exactly, and Ford is really urging us to pay close attention to this.
Okay, good.
He argues that AI surveillance, especially when you combine it with these powerful algorithms that can predict what you're going to do,
Oh,
it
man.
can really quickly erode privacy and freedom.
Even if it starts with good intentions.
Yeah. Even then, think
Good.
about it.
Okay.
If AI can tell you who's likely to commit a crime based on their internet history or who their friends
Right.
are we okay with punishing people before they've even done anything?
That's straight out of Minority Report. You're messing with my head now. This is getting into some really deep stuff.
It is.
Like, what does justice even mean in that kind of world?
Right. It makes you question everything.
It does. Like, what does freedom even mean if these algorithms are always watching us, influencing us, maybe even limiting our choices?
You've hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
This isn't just a technology issue anymore.
Right.
It's about what kind of future we want to live in.
Exactly. So, how do we make sure we end up with the good future? What can we do, like as individuals, to make sure AI is used to help people, not control them?
Honestly, I think awareness is the biggest thing.
Okay.
The more we understand about how AI works, the better decisions we can make.
But like, do your research.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Like, how is your workplace using AI?
Okay.
What kind of data is being collected about you online?
Right.
Demand transparency from companies, from the government, everyone.
So, like, we all need to become little AI ethics watchdogs.
Exactly. And that takes us back to Ford's main message. He's hopeful, cautiously optimistic about AI's potential,
Okay.
like to solve some of our biggest problems, things like disease, poverty, climate change. But he's also very clear. Technology alone won't save us.
Okay, so what will?
The choices we make, our values, our actions, those are going to determine if AI leads to a utopia or a dystopia.
Well, no pressure, listeners, but the future of humanity is in your hands.
Right, no big deal.
But seriously, this deep dive has been, I don't know, what's the word? Eye-opening, but also kind of terrifying.
Yeah, a little bit of both.
So if people only take away one thing from this whole conversation, what do
Yeah.
you hope it is?
I hope they realize that the future of AI isn't set in stone. It's something we're all creating right now through our choices, our policies, our actions.
It's a powerful message.
And if we work together, we can make sure it's a future where AI helps humanity thrive.
Beautifully said. And for anyone listening who wants to really dig into this topic, definitely check out Rule of the Robots by Martin Ford. It's a must-read if you want to understand the forces shaping our world
It really is.
and be part of the conversation about how we use AI to build a better future. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.